All right, so what are the best states to retire in 2024, 2025? Let's take a look at some of these. Now, bear in mind that not everything is based on finances in these. So when you're looking for a certain place to retire, if you're going to move, every state has good and bad areas. So you gotta narrow it down, not just to a state. You kind of got to narrow it down to a county, and then you can take a look at things like the weather and natural disasters, senior health care. That's a big one. Make sure you have access to good health care in your later years, and senior living as a whole. Because you may need to go into assisted living or something like that later on in life. And if you do, you're going to need to make sure that there are some areas around you that you can go ahead and get into. So let's take a look at them. First one is Arkansas. So Arkansas has no huge cities, but it does have a lot of mid-sized towns that are very comfortable for seniors to live in. So the cost of living in Arkansas is pretty low. It's 17%, and it also has a lot of different climates. So you want to take a look at Arkansas. I know that part of Arkansas you can do a lot of fly fishing in. You can get down into southern Arkansas, and it's just a completely different climate. So number one is Arkansas. Number two is West Virginia. Now, West Virginia, again, there's not a lot of big cities in West Virginia, a lot of small, quaint towns in the mountains, and cost of living, again, is at 17%. Now, one of the disadvantages to living in West Virginia, if you're planning on making money on the side, or if you need to, work part-time or something like that as a senior, the wages are pretty low, and that's the case in a lot of these states. So take a look at the wages and the earnings if you're going to need to work part-time in retirement. Number three is Oklahoma. Oklahoma is really a beautiful state. It is. We live right next to it. We go to Oklahoma City quite frequently, and it's a very vibrant city. Oklahoma City is, and all the suburbs around it. Tulsa is a really nice town, but there is a lot of rural areas in Oklahoma as well. Again, cost of living in Oklahoma is pretty low, and it also has a lower tax rate than most states, although it does have an income tax. So one of the big downsides to living in Oklahoma is senior health care is not very abundant. So you want to take a look at it, especially if you're going to live in a rural area. If you're going to live in Oklahoma City or one of the bigger towns in Oklahoma, you'll probably be okay. But take a look at the area that you want to live in and make sure that you have good health care facilities for your later years. Number four is Indiana. And Indiana, it has some really cold weather, but it also has the comforts of a lot of big city living and a lot of rural living. So, you can take a look at Indiana and pick which part of Indiana and which type of living that you want to be in, and it's pretty good. Now, Indiana does have some high income taxes, but the overall cost of living is around 15%. So that's pretty low as far as, the average in the United States goes. And number five is Mississippi. And Mississippi has a relatively low cost of living, and the southern portion of Mississippi has some really beautiful scenic drives going through fishing villages and things like that. And you got the Mississippi Delta, which it claims to be the home of blues and rock and roll. So there you go. A lot of history in the state of Mississippi in the southern portion. And just to go ahead and round out the top 10, at number 6, we have Kentucky. Number 7 is Kansas. Number 8 is Alabama. Number 9 is Iowa. And number 10 would be Michigan. Okay, so I hope you've gotten some useful information out of this video, and if you have, go ahead and hit that like button and watch this video next.